What is up, guys? Technical Tinkers here, checking in on our little 3D print operation for today. I'm a small business owner and my business has nothing to do with 3D printing, but I'm trying 3D printing here at home to see if I can make some sales, and I'm just cataloging, exhibiting the process along the way. If anyone wants to kind of join in, maybe you've been interested in 3D printing as a way to make some side income, something like that. I'm learning about 3D printers as I go along, so this is not instructional. You know, maybe you can learn something from my mistakes or teach me something along the way. So what am I working on today? Well, let's check and see what's on the plates. And so up here, we did have a sale. We sold another hornet nest. This is by far and away of my designs, my best seller, 100%. So this is a faux hornet nest. I like to have at least one in stock because they take a little while to print, you know, like 9 hours or so here on the Soval. So it's a fake hornet nest. You put these up and it keeps real hornets from building nests in the area. You know, I don't know if there's science behind it or what, but I know that the concept works and it's worked here at my house. And I've been selling these, so they sell. And we got another one for the stock there. Over here on the P1P, we started another character model from Karinka, but I kind of went in on it without doing, I've been talking about doing a service here on my P1P, lubing up the rails, general maintenance, and I still haven't done it, and I was like, whatever, I don't care, I'll just send another job to the print. And so I started doing it, and in the night, I got the notification that the face of the print head fell off, and that usually means that the discharge chute overfilled, it got clogged up, and it backs up and then makes this pop off. But that didn't happen at all, it just fell off, and I'm not entirely sure why. And then when I restarted the print, it made this awful noise, this noise, like it was grinding or something. And then when it started to go back into its print, it was way off. It was like, you know, 10 millimeters off to the this way. And so I just killed the print. But you know, the character model, I fit 4 copies on this plate. It was coming out pretty good, and that's the risk I take when I put so many on one plate. All it takes is the one failure and it just nukes the whole plate. But again, you save a lot of filament by doing a bunch on the plate. So gonna address that, take a look at it. I believe it's only 4 colors, so I might be able to get away with it on the A1. We're not sure, gonna have to take a look at that. And here, let me whip down here real quick before you can see how bad it is. All right, and so this is our large example of the hippopotamus skull. So it finished up in the night. It's got some issues, but overall it's pretty impressively sized. Well, we take it in the office, you'll get a better idea of the size. So what I think I need to do is run this with infill and run it with a wider layer width, because I was getting that gapping again, the same sort of issue I was getting on the vase, the floor vase, like on some of these more steep overhang areas. Kind of some gapping here where it's like basically flat, and without any infill for it to bridge over the whatever it generates to get on it, it's just not sufficient. Here's a better sort of example of it down here. You can kind of see this gap that developed here. The model's super strong, but overall that's not the real issue. The real issue is this. So obviously, like I was saying, without infill, that bridging that it creates is not sufficient. The big piece that's supposed to be here just fell and you know, it failed pretty high up in the print. So, you know, obviously I didn't catch that. So, you know, I know a lot of people might come in and be like, oh, well, you know, just isolate that and print it and then glue it down in there and then Bondo and sand it and fill it and sand it and paint it and prime it and paint it again and spend 19 hours finishing it, and then you'll have something that's worth $5, and that just ain't me, bro. So that's a reprint, but it's good that we do it to, again, learn from the mistakes, and so from that we'll extract that we need. We just got to run infill, and we got to run like a wider layer line. Someone mentioning, like, you know, that I don't run infill, and I don't. I try to run like as little infill as I can. It's not so much of a save filament thing, it's a save time thing. These prints just take so fucking long. You know, days and days and days. And I'm trying to get them out. I'm trying to keep moving because, you know, committing to one thing on the Giga, it's like, I want to keep making content for it. So I'm trying to get things done quickly, and if I can like remove more infill that runs quicker. Additionally, like I'm kind of up against the wall with spool sizes because I have a disproportionate amount of errors when I do filament changes. And you know, swapping it over, there's like the chance that that layer that it just came off of, you know, cools and shrinks, and then when you finally change the filament and go back to it, there could be like a separation there. And I see people saying too, and this is an area of confusion for me, like, well, you just, you know, you change it out before the spool runs out, or you just wait for it, you're right there at it. How are you guys doing that? Because that just doesn't parse with me, because like, okay, say it's the middle of the night and you're asleep. Are you setting an alarm to wake up right in the middle of the night to swap out a roll of filament? Are you that committed? You know, is there an expectation that I should be that committed? And maybe for some people they are. But like for people that run 1 kilogram spools, are you just running it and then like, let's say before you go to sleep, you're swapping out the spool, then what do you do with the spool after that has, you know, this much filament, it has, you know, 150 grams on it? Are you just waiting and then you go through and do a print where you're swapping the spool 6 times, you know, in order to burn up old spools? I'm just not about that. I need this to be somewhat as close to automated as possible. So like, you know, a 5 kilogram spool, that model, that Hippo model, was like 3,000 grams. And so if I would have run that and the lower jaw section in one go, it would have been over 5 kilos. And so, you know, I'd just set an alarm and wait and be there to change it out, because I get notifications when things run out, but you know, I'm not always at home, or I'm off doing something else. And so it's like, you know, am I gonna have to baby these things? And I'm trying to like avoid that if at all possible. And so I try to avoid the filament changes. And so when I slice the model, you know, if it's like, I know that I have a fresh 5 kilogram spool and the model, it says it will take 5,200 grams, then maybe I'll dial the infill down by 0.5% or whatever, just to get it under that 5 kilo mark, just so I know it'll burn a full spool and not like need me to change it out at the 11th hour. And so anyway, another whiff here, I was talking about it yesterday, the car part that I did way back weeks ago. He had gotten back to me and said that the front section had some warping in it. I'll post the picture right here if I remember to do it. It had some warping in that top section, and I have no idea why. He doesn't think it's from shipping, and you know, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't, because you know, it was packed okay, and when it came out, I don't remember seeing any warping. But I'm thinking, because the model has such a heavy lean, like, you know, it's almost like I wouldn't say a 35-degree lean. It's just the sheer amount of weight, I think, just kind of like starts bringing it down. And then as the print comes around, the print is going straight up, and that would kind of cause a warp at that 35-degree plane. Let me know if that makes sense or if that's very poorly explained. But so what I did was I put just extra support perpendicular in the model, and so that should finish up here in about 12 hours. Hopefully we'll have resolution there. I got enough PET G to do it, and further to that, I cooked my PET G before I started the print down here in my filament dryer, just to make sure I had a more consistent result. So that's what we're running there. Let's take this and that in the office and see what else I got. So what else is going on? So we got our Hippo issue. That's just gonna have to be a reprint. I think I'm just gonna go for it. I'm not gonna reprint like a smaller version of it, because I mean, I guess I could on the one of the Cobras, the Cobra 2, because it has the 1mm nozzle. I mean, maybe just that top section to kind of test out the infill settings, but that's kind of like, you know, back burner until I can finish the car part. And I've got my big filament order from UJoy Bio, link in the description below. Check out UJoy Bio for filaments. They've been very nice thus far in sending me filament to test out, and they're sponsoring a big print. So I think we're gonna do the Moai head, the one that has the narrow shoulders, the one that can fit in an undersized box. So they're gonna be featuring that over the next few episodes. Additionally, how about that? Tell me, okay, I want you to name the top 3 graphic designers in history. technicals. So I made this, had it printed up at Staples. I was talking about for my hideaway product thing, wanting some kind of like, you know, proper marketing collateral or something like that to go on the product to make it a little more official. And so literally just kind of throwing this in Canva and, you know, like, oh, look, a secret stash. Here's the thing, and you can put your gun in it. Hides valuables in plain sight. Easy install kit. Hi, it's Vince from ShamWow. That kind of thing. So made the little kit here. It's got the screws in there. I should have put a QR code on it. Why don't I put a fucking QR code on this thing? To link to the product, I know I can just put a little flyer in there saying like, go here to see how to install it. Good thing I was sort of talking about this in video to kind of remind me to do that. But this is like the official product. This is taped on here. So I'm making up 4 of these. I'm just waiting on a few more of these filter grills to come in. I'm gonna send these out to my stores because these are kind of a relevant product. So I'll just send 1 to each store. And then, you know, keep a couple back stock here and then kind of push them online. But very happy to get that together. I know it's not the greatest design in the world, but it makes it a little more official. I got these for like 85 bucks on the Etsy right now, and I think I'll probably mark that down a little bit because the shipping shouldn't be too bad. And then overall, it's like, you know, 16 bucks for the grill. Let's say $10 for the hideaway enclosure itself. Another $3 for the filter. So, you know, all said with Etsy fees and shipping fees and all that kind of stuff. Not too bad. I got some room in there to bring it down, but excited to be sort of reaching, I don't know, the end stage for this product. Additionally, having some success with our laser engraver from Algo Laser. Thank you again to Algo Laser for sending that over because like I was mentioning in previous content, I got these slate coasters to engrave upon for my skulls, for all the skulls that I want to print. So got Lightburn, went through just kind of very simply, not without having to learn a ton about Lightburn, and was able to produce these. So this is for the Corvus Corvax, the common raven, identified first by Linnaeus in 1758. So these are going to go with the skulls that I hope to print. Made a little stand as well, kind of a little thing to hold it up. So just a very simple little triangle stand thing. Pop it on there, boom. Put that with the skull, and suddenly you are a refined and cultured person. So I'm gonna do a separate content on those as kind of like, you know, a holistic product sort of thing. Probably today, just to get that out, help build the catalog bank some more episodes, because I have to travel in a couple weeks and I'd like to shorten that break as much as I possibly can. Additionally too, I was talking yesterday about the Dummy 13 that we were printing over on the FL Sun T1 Pro. Again, thank you to them for sending that over. So we did these in PET G, and unfortunately I kind of, with the car part, I was like, oh God, I gotta hang on to my PET G. Further to that, when I started putting this together, and if you've assembled a Dummy 13, let me know in the comments below if you've had this same issue. They crack when putting them together. Now, I was looking around on printables, and people were talking about how when you print this model at over 500%, like that's a thing. And so you might wanna use a heat gun to heat up the joints first, and then snap it together just to make it a little more malleable. And also they make alternative files for these joints for anyone that's printing oversized, very, very large. And so I'm gonna download those and try my hand at those next because like this is at, I think this is at 500%. This might be at 500%, but I am to go like 1,000 or maybe even, I want to make a 6 foot tall, well, it can't be taller than me. Well, I'm 7 feet tall, it doesn't matter. I'd like to make a 6 foot tall version. I've seen a few people do examples that are like 45 tall, so about 4 feet tall. But I think something that's like really truly life-sized would be super duper impressive. If not just for sale, for you know, kind of display on the channel. It'd be a nice, you know, to have a, maybe that's our mascot. We could just bolt a set of tits on or something. But anyway, they make an alternative version of these that are made for very, very large prints. So kind of shelving that for now until I can get the rest of the PET G in, download the files, and then be able to print those. I'm wondering too if the joints are a candidate for printing in nylon, just to have that, have them be able to like bend and flex, because if they're going to be bending and flexing back and forth, eventually it's going to like wear it out. But I'm not sure, like PET G I know is maybe a little more bendy or malleable. not as brittle. I'm not sure about the characteristics of nylon. I have no idea. So looking into that a little more, but definitely want to keep pursuing this because that's just his, you know, that's his waist down to his ankle there. That's a pretty good example. And I mean, even printing this at 500%, that's a product right there. This is the one that someone was selling on Etsy. They said they were selling a 27-inch example for $90. And so that's 27. That would be about the 500% mark, definitely. So that for 90 bucks as a kit, obviously not put together. You know, I think maybe you would have to put it together before sending it, because like you don't want to send people this stuff and then have they go to try to put it together and it cracks all to bits. I think infill settings might have a lot to do with that as well. Switching from reticular or reticlinear to gyroid or something like that might be a good play. I'm not sure, but going to be working on that as well. But for now, ocean. And finally, I haven't really gotten into it yet, but expect this over the next few episodes. Ta-da! Another printer. Your boy got another printer. That's right. This one courtesy of FlashForge. FlashForge sending over the Adventure. It's the Adventure 5M Pro. Now, I'm not super duper like in the weeds on what FlashForge is all about, but, you know, briefly looking into it. They seem to sell like out of the box Core XY solutions, and they really seem to push like farm grade stuff, like people that want to buy multi-unit ready to go, because they have like structured pricing for, you know, buying a whole bunch of units. And this is not a sales pitch or anything. You know, it's just going to be my experience with it, with the product so far. So I got it out of the box. That's as far as I got, and I unlocked the build plate. But just looking at it and looking at some of like the basic info thus far, like it has like interior and exterior filtration. It's all a fully enclosed unit, you know, with a front door. It's got a top hatch too. Spool goes on the back. So this seems really primed up for, again, some of those more exotic materials, ABS, nylon, carbon fibers, things like that. I had no idea about the nozzle or like the temperature, like what the plate can go to, what the nozzle can go to. And I'm sure we'll get into all that when I start doing like a full what to do about it. I also read too that like it's real easy to swap out the nozzles on these things. And here's like they sent along a 0.6 as well, like a replacement nozzle. And you can kind of tell like, yeah, this is made to just like swap out real quick. So that would lend to the fact that they're really trying to structure these for like limited downtime. You know, like if someone's running these on a farm and, you know, something goes wrong with it, they need to do a nozzle swap, or this is like a whole hot end, not just a nozzle. So they just, you know, pop it out and then put this in and you keep rocking and rolling. That would make sense. So nice, small, self-contained unit. Again, very grateful that they would send that over. Thank you again, FlashForge. We're going to keep getting into that and do some test prints on this. The build plate, I'm not sure about. Looking at it, it looks like about a 250, about the same size as a you know, a comparable bamboo sized printer. Looks to be maybe about the same on the top end too, but so considerably shorter for sure. So gonna plug that in today, do some test prints on it, see how fast it stamps out a benchy. I think I need my own version of a benchy. How fast does it stamp out a stinkerette or a D20 cube? So going to be working with that again today. Again, thanks FlashForge for sending that through. If you're a company and want to shower me with free items to look at and feature here on the channel, email is at the beginning of the video and in the description below. So that's what I'm working on today. I'd love to know what you think in the comments below, particularly about the hippopotamus skull or some of these very, very large prints. It's a 1mm nozzle. I've been running a 1mm layer width, and I think I need to bump it to like, I don't know how far I can go, 1.1, 1.2, and I need to reduce the layer height. And that's, when I was talking about earlier, like I'm not as concerned about filament, but I am concerned about time. These prints just take so damn long. You know, that hippopotamus skull was like a day and 5, so maybe like closer to 30 hours for that print. You know, and that's at a 0.7 layer height. And I really need to kind of dial it down to like a 0.5 because of some of those overhangs are so steep. You know, and if it's a perfectly straight up and down model, who cares? You know, print it with the thickest layer height that you can possibly get. But for layer width, that would help maybe address some of those sharp overhangs, like the interior overhangs, I guess you would say. And then layer height would help address that as well, you know, and so it wouldn't kind of fall and cave in. increasing the infill. It's just all of those things add time, and that's really the one thing I hate. Now, you know, I'm always in a rush. I'm always trying to deliver more stuff, but if I don't, videos get stale, you know, because does anyone really want to see me printing and working on the same thing for like 4 or 5 days in a row? Probably not. So that's kind of like my bugaboo about it, but you know, I don't think I'm going to win that battle. I think I'm going to have to kind of slow it down, I guess, or at least, you know, kind of make those modifications just for the sake of the print, because, you know, ultimately that top section of the hippo skull is toast. You know, there's no saving it whatsoever. I guess it could fill the interior cavity with foam, but again, that would require painting and stuff. Like, I cannot allow myself to get to a point where it's like, okay, well, if this happens, then I just have to do X, Y, and Z to remedy and fix the problem. There is no X, Y, and Z. There is only A and B. There's only print the damn thing, take the damn thing off the plate, and put it in a box and ship it. So there's a C in there. So learning from that, obviously, we'll get that next version going here soon, and going to do a dedicated content or separate content. Probably I'll do it as tomorrow's episode later today with all the skulls that I have now that they're more of a complete product. So going to be working on that today as well. I'd love to know what you think about it in the comments below. Be sure to like the video because it's a nice thing to do, and subscribe for more content like this. I'm the Technicals. See you next time.